I disagree with those people who think that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows precisely what he's doing. He wants to raise your taxes. He wants to increase our debt. He wants to expand the size and scope of government to dig even deeper into your lives. Well, Barack Obama may have won this last election, but we cannot let him or his ideology win the future of this country.
And that is so well said and so important. And joining us now is the man himself, Governor Greg Abbott, the governor of the great state of Texas, former, of course, Attorney General, a longtime Attorney General of Texas. Great to see you, sir.
Very great to be here in the studio.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm a big fan, have been for a long time, and had the pleasure of speaking with you when I was at WOR about, I guess, the healthcare lawsuit. You've sued Barack Obama, or been involved in lawsuits, 31 lawsuits against Barack Obama. Bravo.
Well, thank you. During my tenure as Attorney General, the office I held before I was governor of Texas, I sued the Obama administration 31 times. Listen, I didn't want to have to do it, and I should not have had to do it, but I had to do it because he repeatedly, time after time, violated federal law, violated the United States Constitution. The last lawsuit I filed against him was in December of last year, when I filed the lawsuit against his illegal immigration amnesty order.
Right.
You know, it's the amazing thing. Our star witness in the case was Barack Obama. Remember.
His own words.
His own words.
I can't do it. I don't have the legal authority.
He said it 22 times.
Yeah.
I don't have the authority to do this. And then he did it. And that's why the courts have repeatedly ruled in our favor. We've won in court after court about this because the president does not have the authority to rewrite a law that Congress has the authority to write.
Absolutely. And I love what you said there, talking to Freedom Works, that don't think he's inept, don't think he's incompetent. He knows exactly what he's doing. I have always said that, and that's what makes him, in my view, so dangerous for America.
Right. Well, and more broadly, I believe that his agenda is one of a redistributive agenda. Look at what Dodd-Frank is doing to this country. Look at what the EPA is doing to this country. And look at what he's doing on the global stage. America has always been the exceptional nation. Barack Obama himself has said or suggested America either isn't or should not be exceptional. And he's been trying to level the playing field between the United States and other countries, and in doing so, imperiling America's status as the premier nation in this world.
And let me give you one more on Obama before we switch to other topics. He's going to, I think, Oklahoma, to a federal prison. Prison reform. He wants prison reform. He wants drug charge reform, as far as penalties. And he's going to commute the sentence, reportedly, according to the Washington Post, of various low-level drug offenders. You know what my fear is? On his way out the door, his executive order will be to free all low-level drug offenders. I mean, I don't think that's beyond the realm of possibility.
I have never seen anyone abuse executive orders more than he has. It's going to take decades to rein in and to improve upon and correct all the executive orders that he has issued, which is why it is more important now than ever that we elect a true conservative as the next president of the United States. If I could double down on that about one other thing, we've seen in the aftermath of these Supreme Court decisions the incredible power the Supreme Court has now. It is essential that in this next election, Americans think about the United States Supreme Court as they head to the ballot box and vote accordingly.
Haven't heard that from one Republican presidential candidate. I think they sleepwalk, some of them.
I would run on the issue of the United States Supreme Court alone because the Supreme Court has done more to change the United States of America than any other institution. They are far more empowered now. Listen, think about this. This is a good one. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said they had to pass Obamacare to find out what was it?
Yeah.
Turned out she was wrong. What we had to do, we had to wait to see what John Roberts would say about Obamacare to find out what's in it.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. It's such an important deal. All right, let's talk about, you mentioned immigration and the next president, Donald Trump. You're going to meet, and I want to talk about this, you're going to Mexico City, you're going to meet with your Mexican counterparts, et cetera. You've been there on the border. Trump has really gotten the attention of the American public one way or another. They're trashing him in the media, they're trashing him on the left. A lot of people are supporting him. where do you fall on what Donald Trump had to say and where he stands?
Right. Well, I think either all or almost all of the presidential candidates are talking about this very important issue about immigration and about the border. I think the tone of what Trump has said has not been the right tone. It wouldn't be the tone that I would have adopted, but he is emphasizing what a lot of Americans are concerned about, and that is the fact that we have a broken immigration system, a porous border. People are tragically losing their lives that shouldn't be, and something needs to be done about it. And Texas has gotten tired of Washington, D.C. not doing its job, which is why, as governor in my first term, we passed the most sweeping and the toughest border security law any state has ever passed. We put $800 million, more boots on the ground, more airplanes in the air, more boats in the water to make sure we secure our border. We are doing the federal government's job. You know, we will stand up and fulfill and assume the responsibility. We expect the federal government to pay for what Texas is doing.
All right, have you come out in support of any particular presidential candidate?
You know, I have not yet. Here's what I've done. I want to make sure that we elect a genuine conservative for the next president. As we all know, we don't even have all the candidates
announced yet. Well, Scott Walker announced today through Twitter. Yeah.
But here's what I have said, and I want to grill all these candidates on this issue. I insist on having a candidate who will secure the border. I insist on a candidate who will follow and apply the United States Constitution. If we do not return to our constitutional principles, this country is going to sink. And it's going to take at least one or two or maybe more than that administrations to correct the constitutional damage caused by the Obama administration. And if I could just real quick,
sure.
we have to have as the next president someone who will rein in the EPA and return it to its rightful limited position that works with states.
Well, we got a little court help on that maybe.
Well, just
yeah.
small.
Yeah,
It's been a challenge. Half of those 31 lawsuits I filed against the Obama administration was against the EPA.
Right.
The last thing I'll throw in is, listen, a system of government that is as broken as any other in the United States of America is the Medicaid system. And we have to have a president who will reform the broken Medicaid system and especially do what I am seeking to do, and that is to have block grants provided to the states.
When Trump criticizes your predecessor for not securing the border, he didn't do anything. He allowed sanctuary cities in Texas. How do you respond to all that criticism?
Well, you know, it's interesting because Perry, my predecessor, Governor Perry, actually did call for sanctuary cities a couple of times, and Perry did request and send down to the border the National Guard. I've taken that a step further by passing into law and providing the resources for the most robust, toughest border security plan ever.
But is Trump out of line in criticizing Perry for what he's criticizing for?
Candidly, I haven't seen exactly what he said. All I can say is that it is absolutely essential that we secure the border. We've seen the consequences of an insecure border, and the next president of the United States has to do what Barack Obama and his predecessors have failed to do, and that is to ensure that we secure the border.
We're going to come back. We have a lot more straight ahead with Governor Greg Abbott, the governor of the great state of Texas. Violent crime spiking in major cities around the country, and his meeting with, among others, Steve Forbes here in New York, because this governor has a goal and a plan, and we'll tell you what it is when we come back. Don't go away. All right, folks, we're back with Governor Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, and you're here in New York to try to woo businesses to come to Texas, and you met with Steve Forbes today. How'd that go?
It went great. I explained to Steve Forbes the Texas economic miracle. A lot of people know that Texas has been #1 in the nation for creating jobs. What they don't know is that what we did this past legislative session, we made Texas an even better place to do business. Think about this. While a lot of states are talking about increasing taxes, we just cut taxes by about $4 billion. On top of cutting taxes, we invested in securing the border. We invested in higher education. We're spending $4 billion more to build out our transportation infrastructure without raising a single penny in taxes, fees, tolls, or debt. And we didn't spend all the money. We have a rainy day fund of about $10 billion.
Wow.
and several more $1 billion left in our bank account. And so we showed the way that business can be done, and it's going to make Texas an even more attractive place for businesses to relocate to.
And you're planning on reaping the benefits of getting into exporting of natural gas.
Well, it's so fascinating to watch the future of what's going to happen in energy. We've seen, of course, the price of the barrel go down over the past year, but if you look ahead and see where Texas is going to be leading the nation, we are already in the process of constructing natural gas export facilities in the state of Texas, where Texas is already #1 in the nation for exports. We will be even more so. And countries are lining up in the state of Texas, in my office, in the governor's office, asking that they be in line to be on the receiving end of this natural gas that we will begin to export next year.
Wow, that's great news. So you say that the boom of Texas, the economic boom, is just beginning, huh?
The Texas economic boom is just beginning, but candidly, any state would do this if they would follow the Texas model. Low taxes, reasonable regulations, right to work laws, litigation reform.
Steve Forbes moving to Texas with his Forbes empire?
Well, I urged him to move to Texas. He said he sent his most important product to Texas, and that was his daughter, who is now a Texas resident.
Well, that's a good start, I guess. When people listen to you talk, I mean, wow. I mean, it's overwhelming. You're a governor, and you know exactly what to do. You're running things. You're in charge. And we have so many governors running this time around for the Republican nomination. Do you believe that a governor makes a better president as a rule, and especially with this crop?
This is the deepest and strongest field of Republicans I've ever seen run for president of the United States. And listen, I think governors have good experience. I know some of the senators personally who are running for the presidency.
Ted Cruz, I'm sure.
Ted Cruz,
yeah.
who worked with me when I was Attorney General. And I think we have an abundance of good candidates. I will tell you this. What we showed in the state of Texas is that you can get business done on time. My frustration is with Washington, D.C., that refuses to get anything done. You have a Congress that doesn't talk to the president, a president who doesn't talk to Congress. That's not the way to get things done. I am one of the hundreds of millions of Americans who are frustrated with a broken Washington, D.C., and I insist that it be fixed.
I know you just started out as governor. Would you rule out ever running for president down the road?
Listen, I'm running the most important,
yeah,
powerful state of the United States of America, and I believe in changing the United States of America from the bottom up. This is why we engage in this economic competition. Here's an easy example, and that is one of the companies we're trying to woo to Texas is GE. GE wanted to move out of Connecticut when Connecticut raised taxes. Yeah. I sent a letter to Jeff Immelt saying, come to Texas. That forced Connecticut then to go back on their proposed tax
the legislature,
hike.
Yeah.
So if Washington can't change that, we can change that at the state level, and that's exactly what I want to do.
When you meet with your Mexican counterparts in Mexico City, and when is that meeting coming up?
I'm going to be meeting with the president.
Oh, the president of Mexico.
Okay.
What
here in a couple of months.
What are you going to tell him?
Well, we're going to focus on a couple of things. One is going to be on the immigration issue. If you would go back in time to this time last year, remember we had all these people who were coming across the border, many of them coming from Central America.
Yeah, there's kids,
kids and moms. Yeah. Remember this, however.
Yeah.
These kids and moms got here by cartels bringing them here at a price tag of $5,000 to $20,000 per person. But one thing that we did insist on with Mexico is that they do a better job of securing their southern border, which they have done, because that is one of the reasons why we haven't seen as many people coming across. But the real thing that we want to talk to them about is economic development and Mexico developing their energy resources, because the more Mexico gets economically developed, the more Central America gets economically developed.
People won't want to leave.
Exactly.
But I mean, are you going to take them to task at all for, you know, they give out CDs and pamphlets on how to beat the border guards and how to do this and what to say when you get there. And I mean, they encourage this illegal immigration. Is that something you'll address?
We will talk about that, but we have addressed that ourselves as Texas by putting the boots on the ground and the assets in the air and on the water to secure a border. We've had it with trying to get other people to act.
Right.
We've decided to take control of our own lives, of our own sovereignty, of our own state by implementing the toughest border security plan ever in the history of the country.
What about El Chapo? Is he a danger to the United States right now?
He is an immense danger. Listen, we're frustrated about this because he was supposed to be extradited to the United States.
Right.
We should have had control of him. He should be in a United States prison for the rest of his life. He is a danger, as well as the cartels who are dangers, which is one of the reasons why we passed this new tough border security plan, because part of the target are the cartels, and we will not allow the cartels. We've sent a message to the cartels: take your business elsewhere. If he or any other cartel member thinks about trying to come in instead of Texas, we got a prison cell waiting for him.
Yeah, well, hopefully next time, if Mexico gets him, they'll send him here. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Governor, a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much, and I hope you get a lot of businesses from Cuomo in New York to Texas. All right, folks, we're coming back with the Malzberg panel. Don't go away.